Today, we're going to be recapping all of the coolest features that got added to BandLab in 2025. The next feature on our list is one that I think is super interesting and one that I think could be a game changer for any of you who are newer to production. Wow, it honestly amazes me how well that works. They're so simple. I really believe all of these new tools that they added make such a massive difference. What's up, BandLab? My name is Coleman, and today I'll walk you through building a track in BandLab Mobile, highlighting all of the features added in 2025. So now let's jump into BandLab. And the first tool we're going to talk about that was added this year is BandLab's AI voice cleaner. So now to demonstrate, we'll first record in a vocal. So now let's record a vocal in so we can demonstrate the AI voice cleaner.
You and me and you and me, oh, you and me and you and me, oh.
And this is a perfect take to demonstrate the AI voice cleaner because we had an airplane going overhead while we were recording the vocal. So you'll hear it in our take. If I play it back, you'll hear that background noise.
And you and me, oh, you and me and you and me, oh.
So now we're going to use that AI voice cleaner to get rid of all of that background noise. So we'll click on our vocal, click AI, click voice cleaner, and now we have the option to remove the noise, de-reverb, and auto EQ. So the noise remover, it's going to get rid of that airplane noise and any other background noise going on. And then the de-reverb is really nice because my room is not treated just like so many other people's. So it's going to get rid of those early reflections that happen from singing in an untreated room. And then our auto EQ is just going to help balance our vocals for us and give us a better starting point to add vocal chains. So I'll click apply. So now that the voice cleaner is applied, let's hear how our vocal sounds.
You and me and you and me, oh, you and me and you and me, oh.
Wow, it honestly amazes me how well that works. The airplane noise is completely gone. The reflections from my room gone, and it balanced the EQ so that we have a really nice starting place for the rest of our processing. Next up is we got new auto pitch modes. So now we'll go in and apply the auto pitch to our vocal, and you'll see we have a massive variety of tuning options for our vocal. And each one of these options is just gonna give our vocal a different sound, texture, or even harmony. And so having all of these auto pitch modes just gives us a massive variety with how we're gonna have our vocal sound. Let's just flick through a few different auto pitch modes to give you an idea of what they can do to our vocals. So now we're gonna go into auto pitch, enable it by turning our knob on to our desired amount, then select our key, which in this case is gonna be E flat major. And then now we can audition the different auto pitch modes. And here in 2025, we have so many different options when it comes to the different modes we can use on our vocals. So let's try out a few different ones. Here's classic.
And me and you and me, oh, you.
Or we could use one of my favorite modes, which is natural.
You and me and you and me, oh.
Or we could use the telephone mode, which is super cool and gives us that classic telephone sound.
You and me and you and me.
And another one of my favorite auto pitch modes is Apple X. It gives us this really cool harmony effect.
You and me and you and me, oh.
And another really cool auto pitch mode is Gorgon.
You and me and you and me, oh.
So I'm going to select natural and move on to the next feature. The next feature on our list is one that I think is super interesting and one that I think could be a game changer for any of you who are newer to production. So without further ado, number 3, we've got BandLab's AI preset generator. And so how this works is we can write a prompt and it'll create us an effects chain that will transform our sound how we tell it to. So now we're gonna go in and write a prompt for it to create us a vocal chain. We're gonna use BandLab's new AI preset generator to create our vocal chain for us. So we're gonna go into our effects and select generate with prompt. So now we can type how we want our vocal to sound and let BandLab create our vocal chain for us. Give me a clean, compressed, and lush vocal sound. Click generate. And now this is what our vocal sounds like with the effects chain it created for us.
You and me and you and me. Oh, you and me and you and me. Oh.
So that sounds like a really good starting place, but then I think we could take it a step further and use some of the new one knob plugins that BandLab added this year. So I'm gonna add Room, which is a really cool new reverb plugin with just one knob. So I'll click play and turn this up until it sounds good.
You and me and you and me. Oh, you and me and you and me. Oh.
So I think that sounds awesome, and I'm honestly super impressed by how well the AI preset generator works. Now let's move on to the next feature. So now we have a vocal that's cleaned, tuned, and processed. Next, we're gonna use BandLab's AI voice changer to add a really cool double to our vocal. So I'll select our vocal, select AI, then I'm gonna select voice changer, and now we can use this to double our vocal with a completely new voice. And so I think it'd be really cool if we had a female double on the song, so we can go and try some of the different voices out. So I'll click play on Ocean Muse.
You and me and you and me and you.
And then we can use this to bring the vocal up an octave. So now we're doubling it with a female voice that's also a high. I'm gonna click apply. So now we have our high, which sounds like this.
You and me and you and me. Oh, you and me and you and me. Oh.
And then if I layer that with my original vocal, we get this.
You and me and you and me. Oh, you.
Next up, we're gonna highlight my favorite plugins that got added to BandLab this year. So to demonstrate what these new plugins are, how they work, and more importantly, how they sound, we'll add a few elements in one by one and process them with these new plugins. So first, we're gonna go into BandLab Sounds and add a chord progression to go below our vocal. And what's really cool about BandLab Sounds is they're always adding new packs. So we have so many new packs that got added this year. So let's go ahead and choose a chord progression from a newer pack. Now that we have our sample added in, we need to transpose it up 6 semitones to match the key of our vocals. Now it sounds like this.
You and me and you and me. Oh.
Now let's go into the effects and add some different plugins to make it fit our song better. So I'll go into effects. Then I'm going to use the leveler one knob to add some compression to our piano.
And me and you and me. Oh. You and me and you and me. Oh.
What I think is so cool about these one knob plugins is they're so simple. I just turn it up until it sounds how I want it to, and then we're done. We move on. Then we can use the visual EQ just to cut out some of the lows on the piano to make space for our bass.
And me and you and me. Oh. You.
Then we can also use a high shelf on our visual EQ just to make a little bit of space on the top end for our vocal.
And me. Oh. You and me.
Next, we're gonna add a bass to our song, and to do so, we'll go into BandLab's instruments, and then here we can choose our preset. And just like we did in BandLab Sounds, we're always getting new presets for all the various instruments in BandLab. So let's go through and pick one of the newer bass presets that was added this year. So to add our bass in, we'll click plus, select virtual instruments, then slide over to synth basses. Then let's select one of the new synth bass presets that was added this year. So AKA bass is one of my favorite bass presets that got added this year. So I'm gonna add that in. And what's really cool about this preset is it gives us a lot of cool ways to customize the sound of our bass. So now let's record in our bass pattern.
You and me and you and me. Oh.
Then we can use the bassy 1 knob to really thicken up our bass.
and me, and you, and me, oh, you,
Then we can add a pumper to sidechain this to the quarter note.
you, and me, and you, and me, oh,
Next, let's add the drums into our song.
you, and me, and you, and me, oh.
The next feature on our list is going to be BandLab's AI AutoMix. And what this does is gives us the ability to have BandLab mix our track for us. All we have to do is select the style we want it to be mixed like, and it'll literally just mix the track for us. And from using this feature, I recommend experimenting and trying a few of the different genres out because you might like one more than the other. So now we'll go over and choose one of the 8 style options it gives us to mix our track. So I tend to go towards pop, electronic, or house just because those are commonly the styles of music I'm making. So to demonstrate, let's pick our genre and let BandLab mix our track for us. So for this, I'll select house. And now BandLab is going to mix our track for us. Now, this is what our track sounds like after using BandLab's AI AutoMix.
You and me and you and me, oh, you and me and you and me, oh.
So there you have it. That is my recap of all of my favorite features added into BandLab in 2025. And I think it really just goes to show how big of a year it was for BandLab in changing the game for all of the mobile producers out there. I really believe all of these new tools that they added make such a massive difference in the ability for us to create great sounding music using only our phone and a pair of headphones. I really hope this video was inspiring to you, and let me know down in the comments what your favorite feature was that got added this year, and I'll see all of you guys in 2026.